there, it's Jackie Bolhuis from Klompen Stampers. Thanks for watching today. You know, if you're brand new to watching my stamping videos, don't forget to subscribe. There's that little button right down there. I bring usually 2 videos a week, and they are all about making stamping and card making quick and easy. I've got lots of fun little tips and techniques that I show in all of my videos, plus some great quick and easy ideas. Now today's no exception. We're going to do, I guess you call it a technique, but don't get scared off. Sometimes I think we hear technique and we think, oh, it's going to be messy and hard. No, this is a super simple technique, but it helps you kind of get a watercolor look and make your ink pads go a little bit further as you kind of color with them as well. I don't know, that's probably not a very good description. You're just gonna have to watch to see what I have to share with you today. So we're gonna make some cards that could be masculine or for your girlfriends, but I like that they kind of go anyway because I know sometimes we have a hard time making masculine cards as well. So lots of tips. Make sure you watch all the way to the end of the video because at the end I've got about, I don't know, 5 or 6 other cards with the same stamp set to share with you. In addition to the one that I'm going to stamp. So let's get started. We're going to flip this camera down and get right to stamping. Hold on a sec. The stamp set that we're using today is called Enjoy the Moment. Now you'll find this in the Stampin' Up! January to June mini catalog. Speaking of that catalog, if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator that you work with and you'd like a copy of the catalog, hop right over to my website. The link will be down in the video description, and up at the top you can request a catalog and I'd be happy to send you one or help you with any needs. You can contact me that way as well. So it's kind of a unique style of stamp. It's that hand-drawn image, but I really like because it's so versatile as far as being able to make masculine cards or really cards for all occasions. So we are going to go ahead and just jump right in here. I have a piece of, I think this is 2 by 5. Now don't worry about these measurements because I will have over on my blog all pictures of all the cards I share with you as well as the recipe. And that simply means all the cutting instructions. So you'll get all the measurements, list of the supplies, the colors I used, and everything. So we're going to start out by using soft suede, and we're going to stamp that on this piece of basic white. And then I am going to take a blender pen. Now, if you've never used a blender pen before, I like to best describe it as a clear marker. And you can color with it. You can pick up ink off your ink pad. But what we're doing today is actually taking that stamped image right after we've stamped it. And you can't wait too long because we don't want that ink to completely dry. And then we take the blender pen and just smear over it. So it just kind of blends the color that we stamped. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do that with another piece. And this time we'll use Early Espresso. See the difference in the brown. Now when you're done using it with one color, just scribble it on your scrap paper and then you can switch to the other color. Now with these browns, it's probably not even that important to clean it off, but if you were going, say, from a red to a green or using a bunch of different colors, you'd want to make sure that you cleaned it off in between. You know it's clean if it's clear. So then over here, we're going to kind of go around those bigger circles because I don't want to pick up quite as much of that Early Espresso ink because we want it a little bit lighter. And there we go. So that one is colored. Can set that blender pen aside. And then what I would do is just take my scissors and fussy cut that out, but I did one ahead of time to save a little bit of time on the video. So let's just set these 2 pieces aside and then we're going to do several different pieces and then we'll put our card together. So I just have a scrap of basic white here, and then I am going to stamp a greeting way down here, right along that bottom edge. Oh, it looks like it's a little bit crooked. Let's go ahead and try this edge. I kind of like to get things as straight as I can. Yeah, that's probably about the same. So we're going to call that one good enough. And what I do when I want to cut a strip that has a greeting on it, rather than pre-cutting that cardstock, I will generally just stamp along an edge and then bring it to my paper cutter here and cut it down to size. So if you hop over to that website of mine where I said I'm going to have the recipe, you probably won't find the size to this piece because size doesn't matter. But that just really makes it a little bit easier for stamping. This would be really hard if I had that little piece and tried to stamp in the middle of it. Okay, I think oh no, let's do the stamping on here. Then we've done all of our stamping. So I have a crumb cake card base here, and we're gonna take a couple of the other images of the stamp set, and I'm gonna randomly stamp them all over to make a background. Now, note when I do random stamping, I like to just spin my cardstock as I'm going. See how that helps get your images random, because otherwise we tend to stamp them all kind of in a row and in the same direction, and then it's not as random. So just stamp and spin, and we'll just fill this in here. I think that looks pretty good. Now we're done with our stamping. So I am going to take the textile embossing folder and this piece that we stamped and colored with that blending pen. I'm going to actually stick it in here, and I'm going to go run this through my cut and emboss machine, and we're just going to put some texture onto the stamped image, and you'll see the difference that makes. Hold on one second, I'll be right back. There we go. So we can take that out of there, and look at the difference that makes. It just adds that fun texture to it. It's not quite so flat looking. And then we have a piece of, ooh, that came out kind of fast. Early espresso cardstock. Again, we're keeping this all in the neutrals. So we'll put that onto a piece of that early espresso. And then this one, let's grab our dimensionals. Okay, the piece that we cut out, and we're gonna put a couple of dimensionals on here. And really all I'm doing now is kind of sticking this together. We'll put that one about like so. And then this piece, we'll put a couple dimensionals on here. Oh, two came off there, that's okay as well. And then we're gonna put this right over our little stems there. So we want the stem sticking out below it, and then that's kind of popped up on top of it. And then we can come to our card base. And again, put dimensionals. Seems like I use tons and tons of dimensionals, but I think it makes a big difference in your card without any more work. Dimension and different things at different heights just really kind of add to it. And then when I place this, I'm going to go a little bit over to the left as opposed to right in the center. Again, just kind of for some interest. And there we go. There is our card. So remember, we just used that blender pen here. Now these come in a pack of 3. They will last you forever and ever. But it's just a great way to get color on a stamped image. So would you like to see a few other cards I made with this stamp set? Okay, I'm not going to make any of these, but I'll give you a few tips with them, and then I'll have pictures and again the recipe and the supplies I used over on the website. So here I did not use the blender pen, so I guess that's kind of a good comparison as to how different those images look when you've colored them in. And this is just a note card, and then I cut a basic white layer to go on top of it and did a little embossing with an embossing folder. And this is also a note card. This I did basically the same way. You can see I used the blender pen once again, and then I used that textile folder to put some texture in there, and just added a little bit of linen thread on there. This one I had fun. We got kind of a lot going here, but again, keeping it neutral. I just used my clear blocks as my stamp to make the squares. So I literally inked them up and I stamped them. That one's pretty dark. I used I think it was crumb cake on that. And after I inked them up, I actually spritzed it with just a teeny tiny bit of water before I stamped it. So you have to kind of experiment on some scrap paper to get the look you like, but it adds a nice background. And then there's those blender pens again. And then finally for this one, I just did a whole bunch of stamping, and then I used my layered or stitched rectangles, and I cut a rectangle out from the center. So you can see here, the piece that's popped up with dimensionals is what I cut out. But I took my paper trimmer after I cut it out and trimmed off just a teeny tiny bit on all 4 edges. So when it was popped up on those dimensionals, you can see a little bit of that early espresso peeking out from the bottom. So there you go. Lots of different ideas using the Enjoy the Moment stamp set. And then one more before we go. I just wanted to share this card with you as well. I did this for a swap. And this card, again, is just stamped. Rich Razzleberry, I believe, was the color I used. And again, I used the blender pen, both on the wings and then also on the flowers there. So it's just another way to add some color. So I hope you like my video today and my ideas. This is a fun stamp set to just kind of play around, get some different looks with it. But I hope if you don't have a blender pen, this might be something you want to add to your next order and give it a try as a real simple way to add some color. Or if you have a blender pen and you haven't used it in a while, dig it out and give it a try. So I hope you enjoyed the projects, and I will be back again in a few days with some more quick and easy cards. And as always, if you have any questions, reach out to me. I am here to help you in any way I can. And if you need to place a Stampin' Up! Order for any of the projects or products that I used today or anything else, I truly appreciate it when you select me to be your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. So that's it for me today. Have a stamp happy day.